So good evening everybody, my name is Iris, the Rainbow Goddess. I'm the CEO of Bulges Fitness. At Bulges Fitness, our goal is to get your bulge where it feels good. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, because nothing puts a smile on your face like when your bulge is in the right place. Now what I've been asked for is something a little bit calmer, because we've been doing some quite high energy classes up until now, some big toning ones. So I thought what we'll do today is Pilates. So Pilates was made by a guy called Joseph Pilates about 100 years ago, so it stood the test of time. And we're just going to do just a quick intro class, beginner's class into this one, so it's a nice one to get going. Now there are 6 fundamentals in Pilates, and the first one we have is precision. So we're going to build the most precise way to stand. We're going to start with the feet. We're just going to inhale, lift up the toes, turning them out, then lift up the heels and drop them down behind the toes, lifting the arches of the feet so that our ankles are in alignment with our legs, and then coming all the way up through the legs. Switching on the thigh muscles, so for me, it feels like I'm pulling my kneecaps up towards me, just a little bit. We then want to come to the hips, so we want to find neutral alignment with the hips. Now what it might feel like is if your hips are a bowl of water, we're going to pour the water out the front and then pour the water out the back. Now what we want to be doing is just keep going with that nice movement forwards and backwards. And what you should start to do is start to smile as you realize you're thrusting at me. That's right, ladies and gentlemen, you're having a good time there, enjoying that one? Good. So very functional movement, this one. Why is it functional? Because when we're sitting down, our sit bones are backwards. When we come up, we need to tuck under a little bit. That's why, not what you were thinking. So we were thinking about our vajazzle right now. Wants to be pointing right down, so we find where the water sits in the middle, and then we want to grow up nice and tall all the way to the ceiling. Now take a deep breath in, take the hands behind, squeeze the shoulder blades together and open up the chest. So if you spend a lot of time looking at a computer, or my favorite pastime, eating, then this might get locked down. So you want to lift and separate, just like was it the Wonder Bra that lifted and separated, or was it Playtex? Can't remember. And then releasing off, and then finally we will want our ears in alignment with our shoulders. So some of us stick our head forward a little bit when we're looking at the phone, so we want to draw it in just a little bit. So there we go, there's the most precise way to stand. From there we want to start thinking about our center. Now our center is made up of a box of muscles that's around our lower back. Now the most important one is your pelvic floor muscle. So we're going to lift the pelvic floor. So it's a little bit like a stop a fart or a stop a wee feeling. Now you may also have heard of Kegel exercises. That works your pelvic floor. And your pelvic floor is very good for holding your wee when you need to loo quite often. But it's also very good for when you're having a really good time with your partner, or maybe by yourself. From there, we're going to start to switch on the rectus abdominis, so that's our six-pack muscle. It's all there underneath my coronavirus survival pack, definitely there. And then around the middle, connecting our ribs to our hips, is our transverse abdominis. We want to squeeze that into the side, a little bit like you're wearing a corset, just like my sister Kat does every time she does a show. Honest. Squeezing it nice and tight. And then what we want is our diaphragm over the top is creating the box of pressure that supports our lower back. Our diaphragm will bring us onto our breathing, so we want to breathe in through the nose and breathe out through the mouth. Now we want to breathe all the way down into our belly so that our ribs move sideways, and breathing out. And what we don't want to do is breathe too fast, because that's not going to be very helpful for anything. Nice controlled breath. Now anytime you feel dizzy doing this, just forget about it and let your breathing go back to neutral. So there's our first 3 fundamentals out of 6. Our next one is flow. We're going to have some movement for that. So we're just going to inhale, lift the shoulders forward and up. Exhale, back and down. We also want control. So not only are we controlling our pelvic floor muscle, keeping everything nice and lifted and tucked, what we also want is control of the body. So right now we're just going to move our shoulders. Maybe next week if we do a bit of dancing, we might have a little ripple running down through the body, but right now just the shoulders are moving. And finally, concentration. So I know you're concentrating on me right now, but you also need to be concentrating on you. Let's take the shoulders back the other way, rolling forward and down. Lovely, inhaling. Now as you release your shoulders down, Are you managing to keep your pelvic floor switched on, or did you let it go? So it needs a nice little lift in the pelvic area, just underneath everything. Lovely, and it's a little squeezing around the middle. For me, it feels like I'm pulling my belly button to my backbone. Now, ladies and gentlemen, we have 4 ranges of motion that we take our spine through, and we do that for good spinal health, or sometimes it's called spinal hygiene. We're going to start with a little roll down. So we're going to take a breath in to prepare, gently draw belly button to our backbone, and then we're just going to roll down through the spine till we're leaning forward. Once you're bent over like this, you're just going to relax your head and shoulders, lift your sit bone to the ceiling, so you're bent right over, and your head is relaxed forward, so your ponytail drops all the way to the floor. Just relax the body through, and then inhale, and we can rise back up. Now, if you've got a ponytail, it might get in the way, but we're just going to roll down as we breathe out. And then as we breathe in, we roll up. Now, if any of you feel any pain by your tailbone, then you need to bend your knees a little bit. This is all about working through the spine. So 1 vertebrae at a time. Just rolling down and rolling up, keeping that center switched on. We'll do 1 more of those. And then coming up. So let's sort this hair out, otherwise I'm going to end up looking like Carol Baskin, and nobody wants to look like that. Good job I haven't got any flowers in my hair, isn't it, really? Our next one is extension. So we might just cross our hands across the chest. We want to be aware that we're not thrusting our hips forwards and backwards. We're going to keep them nice and still, super stable, maybe a little squeeze in the buttocks just to keep it all still. Maybe crossing the hands across the chest, and we're going to inhale and lift the chest up towards the ceiling. Exhale, coming back to neutral. So you've got to think about where your underwire meets in your bra. Ladies, we're going to lift it towards the ceiling. Gentlemen, we're just going to lift the center of the chest all the way up, lifting your nipples towards the ceiling, but keeping everything super still and stable. Yeah? So it's a little bit like you're lifting your nipples to the ceiling. I could have said chest, but it wouldn't make you smile, would it? Now, what we also want to think about is that I'm not trying to be like a gymnast and drop my head down onto the floor, but staying nice and lifted like I'm laying backwards on a rainbow. We'll just do 1 more of those. Now, bringing the hands across the chest, just a little rotation. So again, we want to keep our hips nice and still, like you're pointing everything directly at me, and then squeezing on to keep it still. We inhale to prepare. We exhale, rotating round to the side. Inhale, come back to neutral. Exhale, round to the side. And we want to make sure that everything in this area is pointing directly to the front, and we're just rotating round through the spine. So again, we're taking the nipples all the way round. So if you had laser lights on your nipples, we're trying to get them to point at the sides, but without the hip ones moving. So if we had laser lights on our hips, there's always going to be pointing and trying to blind me with everything coming forward at me. Exhaling round to the side and inhaling back to the center. Exhaling round to the side and inhaling back to the center. All the time keeping the pelvic floor lifted and the abdominals braced. So a little squeeze around the middle. So 1 or 2 more of those so that you're nice and equal on both sides. And then we're going to do our final one. We call it lateral flexion or sideways bending. So again, thinking about this area, keeping it nice and still, squeezing the bum cheeks a little bit. That's not with the hands, it's with the muscles. And then we're just going to exhale, come over to the side, bringing the ear towards the chest. Let your ponytail drop to one side. Inhale, come up, and exhale over to the other side. And we want to think about having articulation through the spine. That's a big word, isn't it? And that means that we're going to move every single vertebrae one at a time. Just taking it over. And then coming back up. And then taking it over. Lovely. We'll do 1 more of those. And then we'll take a deep breath in, lifting the arm up. And then we'll take it all the way over to the side. Big stretch. We're just going to hold this one for about 10 seconds just to stretch that lateral fascial chain. Feels good, doesn't it? You can feel it all the way up the rib cage. That's because it crisscrosses up the rib cage. Coming up to the other side. Inhale, exhale, coming over. Just holding there for another couple of seconds, gently breathing and then rising up and releasing. That's lovely. So what we might want to do now is just test our balance a little bit. So we're going to take a deep breath in, lift the arms up wide and come up onto our tiptoes. Now if you're anything like my sister, you might be in high heels a little bit later, and we want to be aware that we can balance on our high heels without falling over. So what we're not looking for, ladies and gentlemen, is little kitten heels, but your 6-inch bedroom stilettos. That's the ones you want. And then what we might do is just lean over to one side. Can you feel how your belly starts to squeeze on as you become a little bit wobbly? That's what we call working our center. So it's got that little squeeze. We want to feel that all the time. How far can you go? Now what we're looking for is just a little wobble, and then stop the wobble and come back to neutral. All on your tiptoes like you're wearing super big high heels. Anytime you feel super wobbly, then pop your heels down to the floor. Oh, there we go. So 1 or 2 more. Awesome. So what we're going to do now is come down onto the floor. So you might want to drop down onto one knee, then the other, then sweep your legs all the way round. We're just going to do a couple of little bits today. So the first one, we're just going to have our feet hip distance apart, and then we're just going to take a breath in to prepare. Exhale, create C curve in the spine. So I'm making a C shape with my spine. I'm not collapsing. It's got a big jaw over my belly, and then rolling back off the sit bones. Inhale back onto the sit bones and lift up. Exhaling, coming back, and then inhaling, coming back up. How's that feel? Yeah, feels quite good, doesn't it? So it's good squeeze on the 6-pack, and then we're just rolling back a little bit. Lovely. Let's just do 2 more of those. And 1 more of those. And then this time, if you can, with lots of control, we're just going to roll all the way down onto the floor. We're just going to bring our hands by ourselves and our feet a little bit closer in. Our palms are on the floor. From here, we're just going to peel our spine off the floor. So we take a breath in, exhale, peel your spine up off the floor, squeeze in the butt muscle, then inhaling and lowering back down. So we exhale, lifting all the way up, and then inhaling and lowering back down. Can you feel your spine lifting off the floor, 1 vertebrae at a time, just like you're lifting a pearl necklace up off the side? I do like a pearl necklace. Lifting all the way up, and then lower down. And then just for a little challenge, we're going to come all the way up and hold it. We're going to have our knee, hip and shoulders in alignment, and then we just lift 1 foot off the floor. Oh, that's a little bit difficult, isn't it? A little bit wobbly. And then the other one, just do 2 more of those. Now keep squeezing that pelvic floor so everything around that area is nice and tight and firm, controlling everything. That's lovely. Now coming all the way down. And you might want to draw your knees into your chest 1 at a time, just to give you a big stretch through. Lovely. So, rolling over onto your side, we're just going to lengthen out. So, this one's just a little leg lift. Now, what we want is our hip stacked, our shoulder stacked, big brace around the middle. We might relax our head down to the side. I'm going to keep it lifted just because the radio mic falls in the way. And then super long in the leg. Now, we want to flex the foot. We're going to take a breath in, and then as we breathe out, we're going to lift the leg up. Now, we want the foot parallel to the floor or slightly rotated down, and then we inhale and lower down. Did you feel it kick in around the side muscles? Just here. It's lovely, isn't it? Lifting it up. Now, if you can get your leg all the way up here, that's lovely, but it means we're not working the muscle. So we need to have the legs straight so that we can really get into this muscle. Because ladies and gentlemen, there's no point in having big firm buns like a billiard ball in a hanky, 2 billiard balls in a hanky, or very peachy, if it's not toned on the side, is it? So we want to work that, pushing away through the heel. Exhale, lifting up, inhale and lower down. Can you feel that warming sensation in and around your hip? That's called love, ladies and gentlemen, a nice warm fuzzy feeling. So I'm told. So Oh, I think 2 or 3 more of those will be enough of that. Oh, there's one. Big squeeze just around the side. And then we're just going to take the knee over the top. Oh, give it a nice rub. Feels good, doesn't it? Oh, especially with these tights on. Maybe a little spank if you like, that sort of thing. So let's switch over directly to the other side. Let's come all the way round. And while remembering what we're doing, we're just going to do the other leg. So our shoulders are stacked, our hips are stacked, hand could be on the floor or on the side, switching on the center, pulling the pelvic floor up and a little lift underneath. We're going to flex the foot and then we lift it up, turning the toe down. Now for my friend Tom in Hong Kong, how's that one feeling for you today? So we're just lifting it up there. And then a little shout out to Hazel down in New Zealand. I hope we're enjoying this one. Not as much fun as the one with the bottles of wine, eh? And lowering down. So we exhale as we come up, pushing the heel away. Probably just a couple more of those. Starting to feel all that warm, fuzzy feeling on the side. Yeah, that beautiful love feeling. One more, exhale, inhale, lower down, bring the knee over and give it a nice little rub. How's that feel? It's feeling quite firm over here today. Oh, that was a bit loud, wasn't it? Maybe that was a bit harder than I wanted it to be. So we're going to finish with one more exercise, ladies and gentlemen, and it's a fundamental of Pilates. It's everybody's favourite who does Pilates because we really get to feel it in our bellies, and this one's called the 100. Now we're going to go for a low option today, but if you go and do a little bit of research, you might find something a little bit harder that you can do, but we'll start nice and easy. Now you don't have to do all of the 100. You could take a little break and build up to it over a period of time. So let's show you what we're going to do. So we're just going to lie back down onto the floor. Feet are going to be on the floor on this one. We're going to take a breath in. Inhale to prepare. Exhale, lift the body up and the arms are out. Now we've got a curl in the spine. Ribs are pulled towards the hips. We're holding that there and we're going to pump our arms. And we're going to breathe in for 5 pumps and out for 5 pumps till we've done 100. Are you ready, everybody? Yes, Iris, I can't wait. Glad to hear it. Come on then, let's go. And in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3. You're halfway. In, 3, 4, 5. Out, 2, 3, 4, 5. In, 2, 4, 5, out, 2, 3, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, out, 2, 4, 5, in, 2, 3, 4, 5, 10 more to go, everybody go, 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, oh, big stretch out. How does that one feel? Say hello to your six pack. I told you it was there, it's just hidden beneath our coronavirus survival packs. That's what I'm calling mine nowadays. I used to call it my pooch. So what we're going to do is just have a little stretch. So we'll take one leg up towards the ceiling, just lengthening the leg. So we can feel a stretch all the way down the back of the hamstrings, which are the back of the thigh. You could point your toes or you could flex your foot, whatever feels good for you. And then take a breath in and then let's try the other side. So just lengthen the leg all the way to the ceiling. Feeling that stretch all the way down the back of the leg. Lovely. Now, as we bring this foot down, we want to cross it over the opposite knee, reaching through the middle, taking hold just behind the thigh where we were just stretching and draw it through. Now you can relax your head back onto the floor. And we can flex the foot just because it helps look after the knee joint. This helps stabilize it by switching on some muscles. Now, all done in the best possible taste. Let's switch over to the other side. Hop in the foot across the knee, flexing the foot and drawing through. So we should be feeling a nice stretch around here. Now, one of my favorite stretches is happy baby pose. Always puts a smile on my face. Now, it could look very different for each one of us. We've got one leg up and then the other one, and you might just hold behind the knees, you might hold your ankles, or you might hold in or outside of your feet, and you gently draw your knees towards you, and you get a stretch in the inner thigh and down the back of the legs. Some of you might be flexible enough that you can take your legs a little wider, but that's up to you. Just depends on how you're feeling. So at this moment, I'd also like to say hello to Ryan and also to Jay. I hope you're having a good time, and you've been working very hard on as a key worker, so that's really good. And I'd also like to say a big hello to my sister, Huggy, who's been working in one of the wards at a hospital, and she's been working so hard, and had a lovely chat with her. And I'd like to send out an absolutely massive get well soon to my wonderful friend that I used to sing with, Giselle, who's been working in one of the hospitals, and she unfortunately caught coronavirus, and she's get on the mend now. So well done, and I'm rooting for you to get back and feeling better again soon, my love. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. I just wanted to say, I think I forgot to put the link on, but I'll put it on afterwards. This class is free, but should you feel that you want to donate to our charity, it's Cancer is a Drag, and we've done a wonderful job this week. We've given out £300 to a very young man who has got a brain tumour, and we've been helping him out with a few things, and we got him a special toy that's helped lift his spirits, as well as some money for his parents to help them with what they need right now in this most desperate time. So we work with this charity because it's very small. It gets the money where it needs to go. So should you feel like giving a tip, then please pop it in. It's www.paypal.me/ all one word, Cancer is a Drag, and feel free to put whatever you want in, and that will help lots of people out. So thank you very much for coming along today. I was Iris from Bulges Fitness. Hopefully our goal is to get your bulge where it feels good. Did I put a smile on your face when your bulge was in the right place? Hopefully I'll see you all again soon. It's been my pleasure. I've had a great one. Take care. Bye bye everybody.